whether it be a couple of coins in their donation pile or a couple of pieces of equipment. Well, that's what it takes to make a county fair tractor pull happen like
this.
Well,
I tell you what, Stacy, after that list, you need to take a breath. That was one long list, but that's what it takes to put on a show like this tonight.
You'll get your chance, Daryl. I want to introduce Daryl Clark. He's coming on board with the Badger State Tractor Pull, is covering some announcing for us, and you are the announcer for the Southwest guys.
On occasion, yep. Okay. I drew the short straw tonight to make the trip to Milledgeville. I'm glad to be here, though. I was here 2 years ago, put on a nice little show, and we'll explain a little bit why they got included into tonight's show as we get closer to the southwest portion. So I'll let you take off then, Stacy.
The Carroll County Fair here in Milledgeville is pretty close to my heart. When I was a young boy of about 8 years old, my dad used to pull tractors, and we'd come down here. This is one of the big pulls we went to down here in Milledgeville, and we always talked about it every year. And it was probably 1968. That would have made me 7 years old, I guess, at the time. And that was when I seen my first tractor with an Allison aircraft engine in it. It was right here at the Carroll County Fair in Milledgeville. You talk about making an impression on an impressionable young man. I remember them days quite well. And it'd been the hotbed of pulling ever since. Back in the late 60s, early 70s, saw things that you never seen anyplace else here at the Carroll County Fair.
Well, that's one thing you probably won't see tonight is a Allison airplane engine. We're going to see just alcohol and diesel. That's all you're going to see tonight.
Yeah, last night was truck and mini rod night, or some people will call it the noise night. And tonight it is smoke night. We're going to do a lot of mosquito fogging, and we're going to do it well. And
a big shout out to the Carroll County Fair and the track crew. Tell you what, they had this track covered last night, then they had
boys silent it out there. They're running around on some pretty nice muscle iron out there, and I can see why they're having a good time. But we got things packed up. 6 o'clock, we need to get going. My grandpa always said you never get finished if you don't start. I'm going to ask you all to please rise at this time. And gentlemen, take off your hats. Our national anthem is going to be sung tonight by a young Michaela Nudie from right here in Milledgeville. And she's 10 years old, going to go into 5th grade, folks.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight over ramparts we watched were still gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land and of the free and the home of the braves?
great job.
How about that? Let's hear it again from Michaela Nudie.
Boy, I'll tell you what, that's a great way to start the night, Stacey. That's a great way to start the night.
That's awesome. You know, people give up on our youth of America. That's a fine example right there. Little young Michaela, that all is not lost yet. That is just great. And she done really good, too.
And there was one thing that I told her beforehand. I had a chance to talk to her earlier, Stacey. I said, you know what, Reba McEntire was discovered when she sang the national anthem. So you never know. Look on down the line. You might be seeing
Reba
Michaela.
McEntire was discovered at a rodeo. Rodeo.
That's right.
Yeah, down in Texas, yeah. So why
Right.
not get somebody discovered at a tractor pull here at the Carroll County Fair?
There you go. There you go.
I've-
So put it out on social media. She'll be seen. Well, I'll tell you what. We're going to start out tonight with our first class of the night. It's going to be a class with the Southwest Wisconsin Pullers. And now the connection between the Carroll County Fair and the Southwest Pullers is one of the pullers that you'll see tonight is actually from Carroll County here, and they approached the fair board 2 years ago, and they said, yeah, bring the altered farm class in. They can be kind of the warm-up class for the Badger State Pullers tonight. And the altered farm class, it's a 10,000-pound class. They can run double-cut tires. They're allowed an extra 500 pounds if they're going to run top-cut tires. But I believe there's 9 tractors in the class. Of those 9, there are 2 tractors that are joining the class tonight that are Illini State Pullers tractors coming from Sublette, Illinois. And
the Old House Boys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the Old House Boys.
Absolutely.
There's a place down by Sublette, a big campground. I was by it one time a long time ago. I think you guys are from down around here. Is the name of it Woodhaven? Am I right on that? Is it? Yeah. I think it's full of people from Chicago, isn't it? I don't know, but it's a small city. That's down by Sublette down there.
So we're going to start out tonight. The only limitation that this class has is that they're allowed to only run 3,000 engine RPMs max. They're governed out at 3,000 engine RPMs. Like I said, weighing in, most of them at 10,000 pounds, 20.8 double cut tires. Running a 2.4-inch turbocharger under the hood, a P7100 fuel pump on board, as well as water injection into the intake. So you're going to hear these tractors, when they get down around that 200-foot mark or so, that 180 mark, those RPMs will level out. And then once the weight box gets up a little higher, then the fuel pump will open up. So Cassidy Gabiot, Argyle, Wisconsin, the Buck Fever is our test puller. Once again, 9 tractors in the class. Whoa, Cassidy Gabiot, the Buck Fever, John Deere. 341 and 08, 341 and 08. And the word from trackside is he is keeping that distance. 341 and 08. The Buck Fever John Deere has had a little bit of a challenge this year as he's had 2 instances with failed turbochargers as the season has gone along, but he gets a good start here tonight. Topped out a little over 27 miles per hour to start out the class. Southwest Wisconsin Pullers, as the name states, needless to say, from the southwestern part of Wisconsin. Proudly supported by Dan's Diesel Performance in Milledgeville Park, Illinois, over just above Rockford. For all your diesel performance needs, see Dan's Diesel Performance. And you can find them on the internet, dansdieselperformance.com. Also like to thank Wisconsin Distributors as well as Cardinal CG. Cardinal CG in Mesa-Mady, Wisconsin. Also like to thank Vitesnik Power Sports in Richland Center, Wisconsin. And Clucker's Repair and Auto Sales in Westby, Wisconsin. So 341 and 08. That is the mark to beat, and here is one of the Illini State Pullers tractors coming from Sublette, Illinois. Patrick Althouse, 4320 John Deere. The only difference in the rules between Southwest and the Illini State Pullers is they are only allowed to run top cut tires. And so you'll notice that difference, but they're also allowed to have 500 extra pounds. So and try to balance the playing field that way. So great start to tonight. Now Stacy was saying earlier, this is going to end up being a great night for pulling. Mother Nature, she likes the Carroll County Fair, and hats off to the track crew for having this track ready to go tonight. So call your friends, call your neighbors, tell them to get on out here at the Carroll County Fair. So 341 and change put down by Cassidy Gaviot and Pat Althouse from Sublette, Illinois. A John Deere 4320. Pat Althouse from Sublette, Illinois, 332 and 89. 332 and 89. That won't be enough to put him in the top. So 341 and 08 is still the mark to beat, but down by Cassidy Gaviot, the Buck Fever John Deere. As we move through the Altered Farm class, presented by Southwest Pullers, after we get through that 9-tractor class, we'll be turning it over to the Badger State Pullers, and they'll be starting off their night with a light limited super stock class. And they'll also later on tonight have the 4-1 limited pros, the 466 hot farms, and everybody's favorite, the 10,000-pound fire-breathing pro stock tractors to wrap up the night. SouthwestWIPullers.com is the website for the Southwest Pullers. You can also search for Southwest Pullers on Facebook and keep up with all the social media information. Wisconsin Distributors is a great season-long sponsor of Southwest Wisconsin Pullers pulling action. Our next tractor is also sponsored by Wisconsin Distributors. From Mineral Point, Wisconsin, Jeff Cast. Jeff Cast aboard the tractor that he calls the Budweiser King. Very competitive tractor. This class is competitive from top to bottom, and just about any tractor on any given night has the opportunity to win. So 341 and change put down by Cassidy Gaviot started the class. Jeff Cast, Mineral Point, Wisconsin. Jeff Cass and the Budweiser King is going to be close there. The distance to beat was 341 and 08. Jeff Cass, and he dropped the torque on it right there towards the end of the run. 342 and 95. 342 and 95. That will take the lead. So 342 and 95 for Jeff Cass. Cassidy Gaviot drops to the number 2 spot, 341 and 08. As we're a third of the way through the class tonight. And as we've got 3 tractors down the track, but 6 tough tractors remaining. Southwest Pullers would also like to thank Hot Shots Secret, Fair Valley Performance, Turbo Diesel Performance in Browntown, Wisconsin, O'Reilly Auto Parts, Whispering Pines, Precision Ag, Agelli Concrete, and the Hub City Dirt Drags. Currently sitting on top of the points for the season comes from Richland Center, Wisconsin. Our next puller driving a 1066 International. He calls constant aggravation is Jason Kleppe. Jason, as well as a few others, had taken part in the Midwest Winter Indoor Nationals in Cloverdale, Indiana in January. Then a lot of them also went down to Gordyville down in East Central Illinois, Gifford, Illinois in March for an indoor pole. Very competitive in that class. But Jason Kleppe, Richland Center, Wisconsin, 3.42 and 9.5, the new mark to beat. Oh boy, that's going to be close. Jason Kleppe, he picked a tall gear there. A tall gear. 3.42 and 9.5 was the mark to beat. Jason Kleppe, 3.44 and 7.9. There is your new leader. So Jason Kleppe is flexing his muscles a little bit, showing you that that's a good reason why he is atop of the points series right now. He's altered farm tractors, most of them with 466 cubic inches under the hood. Full load of safety equipment as well on the tractor as well as for the driver. Coming down the track in the vicinity of about 900 horse, maybe a little more. So very consistent group. As we have 4 of the 9 tractors in the books. And immediately following this class, be moving right into the Badger State Show with the light limited super stocks. Bloomington, Wisconsin. Straight north of Dubuque, about 45 minutes. In Grant County, Wisconsin, is home for our next puller, Buck Krubel, behind the wheel of the John Deere 4630. He calls Mr. Buck. He's taken home wins in the past. Last year he had kind of a tough season and had some breakage at times, but a good run in John Deere 4630. Buck Krubel, Bloomington, Wisconsin. .344 and 7.9, the mark to beat. Buck Krubel, Bloomington, Wisconsin. He was wheels up coming out of the hole. 3:36 and 38. 3:36 and 3:8. A little bit concerning there at the end of the run for Buck. If he needs a pull-off tractor.
Found this on the ground. On the steps of the. So if you want to announce his name.
So Buck Krubel, a little bit of a. I was hoping he wasn't having a fuel pump issue right there at the end of the run. James Arnold, if you are near the announcer's stand, come on up here. We've got something that you might definitely want.
What is it?
So James Arnold, if you are here, come on up to the announcer's stand. We've got something you might want. You, James? Thanks, James. You're happy to have that back. Yeah. We were going to try that debit card out and see how much money was on it, but we decided we better not. So once again, 3:44 and 7.9 for Jason Kleppe. 3:42 and 9.5 for Jeff Cast. 3:41 and 0.8 Cassidy Gabiod. Your top three unofficially from the Dan's Diesel Performance Announcers stand. And our next puller is the main reason why the Southwest Pullers are here at the Carroll County Fair. Coming from Sterling, Illinois, just down the road. Honesty Trobaugh getting spotted at the eliminator by her crew chief, also known as her husband, Dewey Trobaugh. The 966 International that the Trobaughs call the Pandemic. Very, very tough running tractor, taken home multiple wins already this season, but they've missed a couple pulls, so that's why they're not right up there in the points. Let's get behind Honesty. Hometown puller, 3:44 and 7.9 is the mark to beat. Absolutely, that's all you can do for the hometown lady? Absolutely. Nice run for Honesty Trobaugh. 3:44 and 7.9 was the mark to beat. The official distance for Honesty Trobaugh, 3:44 and 1.7. About 6 inches behind the leader. Honesty in the number 2 position at the moment. So 3:44 and 7.9 for Jason Kleppe, 3:44 and 17 for Honesty Trobaugh, 3:42 and 9.5 for Jeff Cast. That's how competitive this class is, and I'll tell you what, you're going to see classes like this all night long. All 4 of the Badger State classes will be that competitive as well. So 3 tractors remaining. I believe one of the 3 remaining tractors is an Illini State puller, but meantime, this next tractor, I live up between Richland Center and Viroqua, Wisconsin, and I came through Fenimore, and here's this nice black paint scheme on an International sitting on a trailer in Fenimore, Wisconsin. Well, Todd Wiest is coming. Todd Wiest and his tractor. It's first season that he's campaigning this tractor. It came out of the state of Iowa as a hot farm tractor, and he changed the charger on it, a couple other changes to make it fit this class. So Todd Wiest from Fenimore, Wisconsin, and the International he calls all jacked up, one or the other. But I knew he was making the trip, and he'd been under the weather a little bit. The tractor had a little bit of indigestion, not feeling real well on the inside, and got it figured out, and they narrowed it down to where he's been having issues with the head gasket. So hopefully he can put a good, clean run together tonight, as he's been working most of the season to get this tractor dialed in. So as we're starting to get a log jam at the top of the list, but 3:44 and 7.9 is still the distance to beat. Todd Wiest, Fenimore, Wisconsin. 1066 internationally calls, jacked up. 3:38 and 4.9. 3:38 with 4.9 will not put him in the top 4. Just a couple tractors remaining before we move into the light limited Superstock class. for the Badger State Pullers. Two tractors remaining, and the next tractor is another Illini State puller. Also coming out of the Althouse pulling team from Sublette, Illinois, 4620 John Deere. Owen Althouse. That noticeable bow tie on the front of both of the Althouse tractors. So 344 and 79 by Jason Kleppe, 344 and 17 by Honesty Trobaugh, and 342 and 95 for Jeff Cast. Those are your top three unofficially from the Dan's Diesel Performance Wisconsin Distributors Cardinal CG announcers stand. Owen Althouse, Sublette, Illinois. See if he can give the Terminator Eliminator a ride out past 344 and 79. Owen Althouse, he picked a good road to follow there. 342 and 65, 342 and 65, right in the neighborhood. The Illini State Pullers, they'll be in action this Saturday night up at the up at McHenry. That sound right, Stacy? So you can find the Illini State Pullers on their website. Just search for Illini State Pullers to find out where they're going to be as the season goes along. Once again, Southwest Pullers is southwestwipullers.com. One tractor remaining. Glen Haven, Wisconsin is home for their next tractor. Glen Haven in Grant County in southwestern Wisconsin. Josh Vogt and his international 1466 that he calls taking chances. 344 and 79 is a distance put down by Jason Kleppe. Josh Vogt has taken home a couple wins this season as well, so this tractor has the ability to be right out there, and you can tell from the distances how competitive this class is. I believe the Badger State Show will start out with the light limited super stocks. As we've got the green light on the final tractor in Southwest Pullers 10,000 pound altered farm class. Josh Vogt, Glen Haven, Wisconsin. Josh Vogt, Glen Haven, Wisconsin, 3:44 and 7:9 was the mark to beat. National 3:38 and 9:4, 3:38 and 9:4. That is your final puller in the Southwest Pullers class. Ladies and gentlemen, hey, let's give the Southwest Pullers Altered Farm class a big round of applause. And we'll get the final results here shortly. Stacy, I'm going to hand it over to you. You can go ahead and I'll get the final results. Get the final results put together here shortly, and we'll make that presentation.
All right, we're going to move right on into Badger State puller action. And these guys are chomping at the bit. We got a double rainout last weekend. We were supposed to pull up in Oshkosh, Wisconsin at the Winnebago County Fair up there. And we got rained out up there. They had that terrible, devastating tornado run through Menasha a couple days before that. So they had enough on their hands, and we're moping around because our pull got rained out. But then we got rained out up in Warren at the Joe Davis County Fair. We were supposed to pull up there last Saturday night, and that was a wash. That was actually a mud hole to the 10th degree. They didn't. They pulled the pin on that one pretty early. But most all these pullers are farmers, and like most all you folks, they welcomed a couple inches of rain that we got. I know that's what I got in my gauge at home, and it reactivated my lawn. So now I got something to do tomorrow. I got to find my lawnmower, though. I think I know where it's at. But we're going to go to limited light super stocks on the Badger State circuit. And these guys got a little bit of bonus shootout money that they're going to be running for, and it's going to encompass the last 3 light superstock events of the season for the Badger State Pullers, and they'll take the top 3 finish-wise and split up a $1,500 extra bonus for them. Darryl, you got your final rundown.
Absolutely. We were talking earlier how tough this class could be. Well, you listen to some of these distances. That is a prime example. 9 tractors in the 10,000-pound altered farm class. Number 9, Pat Althouse from Sublette, Illinois, 3:32 and 8:9. Number 8 in the class, Buck Krubel from Bloomington, Wisconsin, 3:36 and 38. Number 7, Todd Wiest, 3:38 and 49. Number 6 in the class comes from Glen Haven, Wisconsin, our final puller, 3:38 and 9:4. And your top 5, number 5, Cassidy Gabbia, the first puller in the class, 3:41 and 08. Number 4 in the class comes from Sublette, Illinois. Owen Holthouse had a good run with these 4620 John Deere, 3:42 and 6.5. Just behind Jeff Cass from Mineral Point, Wisconsin, of the Budweiser King, 3:42 and 9.5. And runner-up in the class, the hometown lady, Honesty Trobaugh, the 966 International, she calls a pandemic, 3:44 and 1.7. Just a short distance behind Jason Kleppe from Richland Center, Wisconsin, the 1066 City calls constant aggravation, but with a winning distance of 3:44 and 7.9. Very competitive class, Stacy.
Yeah, Darryl, I was talking to Honesty, is that her name?
It is, yes.
Yeah, I was talking to Honesty a little bit back in the staging area. She was really nervous because this is her home county fair. She said she had driven the tractor 3 times this year, and she had 2 firsts and a second, and she was really nervous pulling. She got a lot of family and friends here, evidently. And I said, well, just don't snuff it, you'll be fine. And my God, another second place, that's pretty good.
Well, I'll tell you, Honesty and her husband, Dewey, they're both great drivers, and they try to alternate back and forth and take the driver's duties. And tonight, that she drew the long straw tonight. She drew the long straw to get the pull underway. So I'm going to let you take off with the rest of the show tonight. Good to see everybody here at the Carroll County Fair. Once again, still plenty of time to get out here. Call your friends and call those people that you want to have as friends and tell them to get out here tonight. So Stacy, let them rip.
Thanks a lot, Darryl, and we'll see you at the Fall Nationals, I'm sure.
We'll be around.
Yep. All right. And we got Craig Hole ready to go. Our first tractor up here in limited light super stock action on the Badger State Tractor Pullers side of things. They call this one Mud Bunny. He comes out of Oskaloosa, Iowa. 656 International. We got 9 tractors entered up here tonight in our limited light super stock class. And these guys here, 315 cubic inches, and you can run 2 turbochargers, or 410 cubic inches and 1 turbocharger, and you can run alcohol or diesel. I mean, we got our alcohol burners in here. Oh yeah, I see the Zenz boys. So yeah, we got them in here both different ways, and I'll tell you how we work that way as the time gets on. And again, the first tractor in every class is our test puller. And boy, Ben Hayen and his crew, they whipped up a tremendous pulling track here tonight. We should be in for a treat. Carroll County clay giving him all he wanted. And now we'll see if he keeps that pull. I'm sure he's not happy with it because he caught a heck of a wheelie out there at about 100 and almost 200 feet, I guess, 175 foot. Probably hit the wheelie bars, and then it bounced a couple times. Definitely not a picturesque run. Yeah, Craig, and Craig Hall, he goes 312.45, 312.45, and the part that surprised me is he's keeping the pull. He's keeping it. I know he knows he could have probably done better with a little more weight on the front end if he had any, or at least dropped the drawbar a half an inch, because he bounced the front end pretty hard, and that impedes your pulling distance quite a bit. But the sled is set. We're good to go. Oh, look out. Here comes the T-shirts. Here comes the T-shirts. Frank Molitor and crew. These T-shirts are from Channel Seeds. Am I right on that, Frank? Channel Seeds. And Molitor, the red Cadillac pulling team. Now you got Tracy shooting the T-shirts, and Frank's loading the gun on one end here. Get your hands up. Get them high. Be seen. Be heard. You may get some clean clothes. Oh, boy. And that's a ground out to second. That one was. Is that one of the Paulson boys doing the shooting there? He lobs one up there pretty good. Yeah, stand up, get your hands high. Uh-oh, Frank's going to shoot now. Now you better wear your protective eyewear. Oh no, he's not going to shoot it. Channel Seeds and the Molitor family pulling team shooting the T-shirts out there for you. And hopefully you guys got some clean clothes so you can wear tomorrow. You won't have to do laundry for an extra day. Here comes, this here going to be Josh Wackhouse out of Oshkosh. We got him pouring it out last week. He's going all the way down there. He's able to keep the front end a little more under control than Craig Hole did. Uh-oh, they got more T-shirts. What, did you hit that off the upper deck? Is that where that one landed? Holy smokes, Tracy. They got one laying out in the middle of the track. You better get it before the roller squashes it. And Josh Wackholz, he goes 317.38. That is going to put him in the #1 spot. 317.38 for Josh Wackholz. A nice pull. And he was able to keep the front end just a little more controlled. where Craig Hole, he kind of probably hit the wheelie bars a couple of times. Now Tracy, are you aiming for all that stuff you're hitting? Or no, that was Frank shooting that one? Frank, I imagine all the deer are pretty safe up around Kent with a shot like that. I want to thank some of our good sponsors here for right here at the Carroll County Fair. And watch out for the T-shirts, man. You got to pay attention here. Tracy's letting Frank shoot now, so oh, look at that. Over the top. He cleared the building. That's one of Paulson's youngins down there doing the shooting, I think. Frank's wife, Janine, she's our channel seed rep, and she's helping him out down there. And he cleared the building, so I guess they got some range on these things. Again, I want to thank the Molitor family pulling team, helping out, launching T-shirts in the sky, and over the top, too. We got Cody Wickman coming up now. Cody Wickman out of Baileyville, one of our local pullers. Man, we just had a guy from Oshkosh take the lead, Josh Wackholz. From Oshkosh, I would say he's probably a solid 4.5 hours from home. And we were going to go up there last Friday night, and we got rained out. So now we got a local puller from Baileyville, Cody Wickman, going to do the driving on the John Deere. And this here's a 410-inch motor with one single turbocharger on it. Nice run for Cody Wickman, and he pushes it up there a little bit. Guys are running down here on the left-hand side of the track. Traditionally, that hasn't been the case, but ever since they reconfigured it from a racetrack to a pulling track, it's kind of changed its personality. He had to beat 317.38. Cody Wickman goes 317.75. He's going to be your new leader by just a smidgen, 4/10 of a foot. So let's see, you take a foot, you cut it into equal pieces, 4/10. That's a little over 4 inches, probably 4.5 inches, I suppose. Nice pull for Cody Wickman, taking over the lead here at the Carroll County Fair. Again, our sponsors here, we want to thank the Milledgeville Men's Club, Wally's Place, Bushman Service, Vandervoort Sales, the Milledgeville State Bank. Also AgView FS, Computer Dynamics and JC Wi-Fi, Farmers National Bank, Nutrin out of Chadwick, Whiffles Hybrids, Jacob's Brother Farms, Teton's Grain, Heritage Tractor, Computer Financial, and the Polo Co-op. A big thanks to all them folks stepping up and kind donations to make this possible, having a pull here at the Carroll County Fair. And boy, what a beautiful night it has turned out to be for our tractor pull. Now we're going to get a look at our first alcohol burning tractor here. This is going to be Steve Zenz out of Potosi, Wisconsin. This is the Oliver 1855, and this baby runs at the top of the heap. And in this particular class, the diesels weigh 6,500 pounds. The alcohol-powered tractors weigh 6,250. So it's just 250 pounds difference. And when the alcohol tractors came into the class, they didn't know how it was going to work. So that's just what they said, 250-pound difference. And it's never changed. It's turned out to be a very good, I don't want to call it a handicap, let's call it an equalizer between the alcohols and the diesels. Here we go, Steve Zenz out of Potosi. track might be just getting a little bit better. It's kind of what I'm thinking. Oh boy, and he did it, and he did it well. 336.97 by 19 feet. Takes over the #1 spot. 336.97 for Steve Zenz on the Oliver. And yeah, he hustled it right out there. And I think the track might be getting just a little bit better with each passing tractor. And that's just luck of the draw. You know, that's the position that you draw, and and I know our test puller, Craig Hole, he certainly wishes he could have turned that pull down, but I got a sneaky suspicion he just didn't think he was going to be able to get the tractor cooled down enough in time to make another attempt at the end of the class. And this isn't the last pull of the year either. If it was the last pull of the year, he'd probably give it a shot, but all these guys got several more pulls before the season's over, and you don't want to burn it down at one pull just and wipe out the rest of your season. But Steve Zenz really threw down the gauntlet there, 336.97. His brother Dave Zenz, also out of Potosi, coming out now with a white that he calls the Z-Ride. And the Zenz brothers, this was their first tractor. They ran this one for a few years and then built the second one, the Oliver. Both tractors are powered by a 5.9 Cummins. Yeah, and you can do that. You can update the engine that the tractor would have. Yeah, 5.9 Cummins converted to alcohol. They make pretty good power, and you can get lots of good parts for them. They're spotting the diesels, 250 pounds, but boy, we just put one in the lead by 19 feet. And the guys are, so far, they're all kind of favoring the left-hand side of the track. We'll see if anybody tries to keep it up on the right side before this is over. He didn't run the right-hand side, but boy, he kept it up off the left side. And he hustles it right down there. And I think he may have just moved his brother down to second place. And indeed he did. He needed to beat 336. Dave Zenz goes 339.36. That's going to put him on the top of the heap. 339.36. Boy, each tractor's going further than the one before it. So if you're sitting down here later in the class, you got to be thinking pretty good things, you know. Keith Durst and Aaron Kleckler, they're the last two in the class. We only got 4 to go. Colin Greiner out of Keota, Iowa. 1066 is what he calls, is what his badge are listed as. Well, we got some nice iron doing our track room, and a real nice couple real nice 1066 black stripes. Then we got a good old 1206. Pretty nice tractors there. I subscribe to Heritage Iron Magazine, so I like old muscle tractors. Regular attendee of the Half Century of Progress. That's not this year. They'll have it again next year. All right, this next puller coming in, I'm not familiar with him. I think he must run East Central Iowa. He comes from Keota, Iowa. Colin Greiner with a 1066. Looks like it's a diesel burner. This would be my first time watching him make a pass. Hey, get him all hitched up down there. Josh Jacobs with the Terminator, covering our sled duties tonight. Look down at the finish line in. Get the slack out of the chain. Our head track judge, Steve Jeanroods, out of Fayette, gives him the green flag. We'll see what he's got for us here. Coming in from across the Mississippi, Colin Reiner, 1066. Well, a very nice pull for the man from Iowa. 318.85, 318.85, and I'm not so sure that tractor isn't pretty new also. She'll look pretty shiny. Got all the latest stuff on it, got the spring ride front end on it. This here's going to be Dave Runkle out of Kent, Illinois, up there by the Warren area. 686 International. He calls Earl's Dream diesel burner. And he's the one that told me about the shootout that the light limited guys are running for. It's going to encompass the last 3 events of the Badger State Circuit here in 2026. Tonight's the kickoff of it. And they're going to take the best 3 finishes out of the class and give him an extra, what are they paying? What do they say? $750, $500, and $250 or something like that. For the top 3 guys, so always nice to have a little extra jingle in your pocket. First thing you got to do is make it to all the last 3 pulls, and that's the last 3 pulls of the season. Sometimes these guys the tractors are getting a little wore out by the time that comes around. All right, Dave Runkle, he puts the sled right in the middle of the track. Nice pull for Dave Runkle. It wanted to pull him down to the left-hand side. I think he might have rubbed the right brake just a smidgen to keep it up more towards the center of the track, because he's seen how that center of the track worked good for our leader, Dave Zenz. $322.92 for David Runkle. A very nice pull. Right now we got the Zenz boys sitting 1 and 2. Dave out there with the white Z-Ride 339. And his brother Steve sitting in second with the Oliver at 336. And I believe, unofficially, according to my Platteville High School math, Dave Runkle just moved into third at 322.92. He's the only one into 320s. 2 tractors to go. Keith Durst out of Richland Center. Alice Challenger's 200, he calls Little Mule, be coming up next. Want to thank the folks at Smith Farming Corporation, also Mike Kendall, Deucing Grain Services, Hayen Electric, Nice Heating and Cooling, Titan International, the Community State Bank out of Morrison, also Ludwig Family Farms, Tony McCombie, all them folks helping us out. Here comes Keith Durst with his Alice Chalmers 200. Only Alice Chalmers we got entered up in the class. Calls it the Little Mule. He bought this tractor out of Kentucky a couple of years ago, brought it home, and the tractor, it made weight, but it made weight with no weights to spare on the tractor. He didn't have any weight to put on the front end, and his first trip down the track produced a rather spectacular ride. And he says we can't pull it like that. So they took it off the track for the rest of the season and put it on a serious diet. And now he's got several hundred pounds of movable weight hanging on the front of the tractor now. Well, it's an alcohol burner. We got alcohol burners sitting 1 and 2, so he's got to be thinking good things about that. Hooking late in the class, I don't think that's going to hurt him because the track looked like it was getting a little better. That got hairy in a hurry. Boy, she started coming left in a hurry, and he was heading towards the wall. Busted the front end on it. It's still attached, but that left front tire on this side was dangling around pretty good. Sled almost hit the wall. Not quite though, Josh. Boy, that was pretty wild. We'll look at the big screen down there. We're going to see the replay. You got still shots?
Oh, where's the good ones? I got good ones. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he had it on one wheel, too, on top of it all. That's when he took corrective action. All right, let's look at the big screen down there. Let's see how this all came into play. Front end's up. He's carrying it pretty nicely. But then the tractor's starting to head left on him, and it's heading left in a hurry, and the front end went down and comes back up high, and boy, he's heading for the behind the sideline now. And he gets on the right brake really hard to try to keep that thing from going out of bounds. And at this point, it doesn't matter going out of bounds. It's staying off the blocks, the big cement blocks. He got it to come back around, but boy, she bounces hard here. You can see the left front tire on it. That becomes disengaged from its normal position. The back of the sled, which we're not looking at right now, we're watching the tractor, but the back of the sled swings around and almost hits the wall. Wow. That's a wild ride for Mr. Keith Durst. He's got his helmet off. Let's give him a big hand. If nothing, he was exciting. My goodness. He wiped out our track markers. That was with the flaps of the sled. Here, 286.13 286.13. He gets the distance. He kept the tractor in bounds, and that's all we care about is the tractor, because we don't have any control over the sled. He did keep the tractor in bounds, so he gets a distance. Although it's not going to be 10th place distance probably, or 9th place, however many he got in the class. But boy, what a rough ride. They're trying to get him steered too. I think they're going to have to pick him up on the front end because that left front tire's knocked. It's not knocked off the tractor, but it's all discombobulated from its original position. So yeah, they're going to have to give him a little assistance. What do they say? That clean up on track 1, 250 feet? Yeah, something like that. Now we got our starting line track judge, Dan Meyer. He down there putting the lines back down for us. Meanwhile, they'll get Keith Durst hauled back to the trailer. And then he's got to get it in the trailer. That always makes things a little more fun because it's different. I don't think the tractor steers at all now with that left front tire kind of all out of kilter. Boy, well, that was exciting. Now Aaron Kleckler coming up next, and he goes, oh boy, I don't want to get stuck in his ruts. If it was me, I'd move the sled up to the right just a little bit more. Aaron Kleckler, he's going to be our last tractor in the class, the Double Vision Oliver 1850. It's a diesel burner. He's past point champion. We got the Zenz boys sitting out there 1 and 2. Both well into the 330s. Dave Zenz pushing 340 at 339. That's a very nice pull for Aaron Kleckler. He kept her up in the middle of the track, stayed out of Keith Durst's ruts, and he comes out of it with a very nice pull. He hauls the sled 320.94 for Aaron Kleckler, 320.94. We'll see where that puts him in the final run down here. We put them all into our adding machine, and it spits them all out, top to bottom. Here's how they are going to finish up, and Keith Durst is going to finish 9th with the Alice Chalmers on that wild ride. Still got the 286 though, and Craig Hall with the Mud Money, our first man down the track. It wasn't quite as wild as Keith Durst was, but his front end got a little high on him a couple of times. Going to roll home 8th. Josh Wackholtz all the way down from Oshkosh, 7th place here tonight. 6th place goes to the man from Baileyville, local puller, Cody Wickman. 5th place goes to the 1066 of Colin Greiner out of Iowa. And our last man down the track, Aaron Kleckler with the Oliver, he went 320.94, good for 4th. And the top 3 shake out like this. 3rd place, David Runkle with Earl's Dream, the 686 International, 322.92, good for 3rd. And 2nd place goes to the Oliver 1855, Steve Zenz out of Potosi. He was out there at 336. It was a tremendous pass, but it didn't last long because his brother quickly followed it up with a 339. Your winner out of Potosi on the Z-Ride, Dave Zenz. Congratulations to the Zen boys, putting them 1 and 2 here tonight. They're standing out here, yeah. They had this Carroll County track figured out. Nice class of light supers, and all them light supers now, they're besides the season-long points battle that they got going on, they also got themselves a little sweep juiced up for the last 3 events here. Got an extra $1,500 tossed in the hat, and Dustin Hook was going to text me who was responsible for throwing that $1,500 $100 in the hat. He was going to text it to me. He must have sent it to somebody else. So if you got a random text from Dustin Hook, it was meant for me. Well, they're going to load up the boat. We're going to go heavier and bigger. 9,500-pound limited pro stock tractors. You got 10 of them entered up. Should be a very nice class. Now the guys had a chance to watch the first class of the Badger State Pullers deal with the Carroll County clay that Ben Hayen and his crew put together here tonight, and they realized, whoo, it's going to be a pretty good track. Hell, they're going to drop some of them 2,000-pound weights in the box on the Terminator sled down there. Thanks to more of our great sponsors here for the Carroll County Fair. We want to thank Britton and Annette Bauer Farms, also First Class Insurance, Brian's Diesel Repair, Henry Metter, he's our Beck dealer, also the good folks at Northern Illinois Diesel, the Mill Wheel Tavern, Faulkner Farms, also Journey Farms, Silver Streak Ag, also the fine folks at the village of Milledgeville, and Clark Carroll Insurance. Some more of our great sponsors helping make this pull here possible tonight. Want to thank some of our good sponsors on the Badger State circuit throughout the year. Hennessy Implement, they got dealerships in Dodgeville and Monroe. Also Kwame Insurance out of Columbus, Wisconsin. Nutrien, also Lemke Motorsports from Helenville. Ritchie Implement, they got stores in Cobb, Barneville, Darlington, and Lancaster. Holonex Ag, Westchester, Pennsylvania, and also Slama Equipment out of Hillsboro. Great sponsors for 2026 on the Badger State Circuit. Big thanks to them folks. Speaking of Hillsboro, we're heading there next weekend. Next weekend, we're heading to Hillsboro for the 20th annual Hillsboro Charity Tractor Pull. Be up there Friday night and Saturday night. And this is the last time we'll get down this neck of the woods. This Saturday, we'll be up in Utica, Wisconsin. That's up in Madison area, general vicinity. Then Beaver Dam, Highland, Wisconsin. That's straight north of here. As is Viroqua. That's where we'll finish up the season. September 12th in Monroe, we got the Greene County Fall Nationals. That used to be the season wrap-up, but they moved the date up a couple of weekends to get away from cheese days. That was always a conflict, so now they solidified their date there. All right, we're ready to go with 9,500-pound limited pro stock tractors. First puller is going to be Mike Gerlach out of Stockton. And he was one of the driving forces for the pull-up in Warren at the Joe Davis County Fair. That did not happen because it got rained out. And Mike, tractor just hasn't been performing up to his standards, so he took it off the circuit for a couple of pulls, took it in the shop, and they started checking stuff over. I didn't get a chance to talk to him and see if they found anything, obviously glaring that was causing the tractor to not perform at peak levels like we're used to seeing. Well, I would say he might have found something because that was a pretty good pass. Lots of power, lots of wheel speed. He got a little light on the front end a couple of times. But nonetheless, a great distance and fast, a good fast pull. 343.35. Look at that up on the board. 343.35 for Mike Gerlach. I'm sure that felt a lot better than his last fill hooks. He's keeping the hook. The sled is set. We're good to go. All right. Gonna let him run. Yeah, I don't know what Mike found on the tractor that it wasn't performing up to par, but he found something, because that sure looked like what we're used to. I think he probably wish he had another 100 pounds on the front, but he'll take that one. Very nice pull. Now we got, what we got in there, 10, is that what I said? Yeah, we got 10 tractors. So he's got 9 more to take a run at him. I see they took the end loader back to the pits. I think they're helping Keith Nurse get the Alice Chalmers loaded up with a busted up front end on it. On the track, Kevin Engelking ready to go. Out of Rock City, the Dark Horse White. I think this might be his first pull of the year. He's been busy. Kevin Engelking, he just hustles it from one end to the other. He had great balance on the tractor. The front end not getting too high and not bouncing. And I'm not sure if that's Kevin's first time out this year. I think it is. He's been busy in the dyno, and then he also farms a bunch. Got a whole pile of grandkids running around now too. All them things take time. But that was a good pass. Takes over the #1 spot with a 347.5. 347.5 goes on the #1 by 4 feet. Great run for Kevin Engelking. Yeah, he runs the dyno shop up there, Engelking Dyno Service. A lot of these competitors out here are also customers of his. He was like the first kid on the block to have a dyno, and boy, he had more work than he knew what to do with. Now there's a lot of dynos floating around, so it's taking a lot of the load off Kevin, and he's fine by that. He's still plenty busy. But you look up on the big screen there, the replay, that front end was just hanging all the way down the track. Perfect balance on the tractor. And I got to confirm that was Kevin's first time out this year. And boy, he hit her right out of the box. And speaking of first time out, we got Scooter Scott Burkhart out of Winnebago backing up to the sled with his 3688 International Harvester. And I believe this is also going to be his first time out this year. And I believe his first time is because they kept sending him the wrong pistons. They were overhauling the engine, and 3 different times they got pistons that weren't quite up to his head mechanic Nick Cunningham's specifications, and they sent him back. But talking about Angel King's dyno service, I think this one here just came from there within the last week. Scooter Scott Burkhart out of Winnebago. First run of 2026. These guys are rotating the earth here tonight. Scooter Scott Burkhart, first time down the track in 2026. And he blasts us out here a very good distance. Wow, does he do it? 3:55.10. That's going to be your new leader. 3:55. He takes over the #1 spot by, let's see, 5 and 3. That's 8. 8 feet goes into the lead. Wow, pretty good run for Scooter. I bet that felt real good. Al, talking to Mike Gerlach here, we're talking tires a little bit, and Scooter, I noticed on his, he's got a set of the Mita tires. I don't know if he's had them on there before or not, but boy, they sure look like they work good for him tonight. The Mitas. We'll talk tires here in a little bit. Now we're getting ready to go. Bill Smith from Darlington. John Deere 6030 calls her high maintenance. He won a pole here recently. I'm just trying to think when it was with the rain, with the double rain out last weekend. You know, now I got to remember something that happened a week and a half ago, and that's getting to be pretty far back in the memory bank for me. He's kind of moving the sled down here towards the infield side. Definitely left to center. Yeah, he won a pole here a little bit ago. I'm trying to think where it was at. I think it maybe was Monticello, Iowa. Was it Monticello? Yeah, okay. I wasn't even there and I remember that. That's pretty good for somebody that's got early onset CRS. All right, Bill Smith, he got his work cut out for him. Now Scooter right down at 355. Smith said, not scared. And I think that might knock Scooter's 355 down a notch. I got a sneaky suspicion what we've seen in the light super stock classes still going on, track getting better. Wow, had to beat 355. How about 363.81? Wow. They are stretching it out here in Milledgeville. That was a picture-perfect pass. Guys are really laying down here. Look at the replay there. He picks the front end up and just barely touches the ground. Then he carries it. Now he's carrying it. He's got all that 9,500 pounds on them big 24.5 tires on the back of that machine, and they are clawing the dirt and throwing her behind him. Still carrying the front end. Boy, he's got speed up too. He really had some ground speed at mid-track. That's a picture-perfect run. If you Google picture-perfect tractor pull, you might see a video of that run right there. That's about as good as it gets. Well, this is interesting because our next guy coming to the sled, Tony McDonald, also coming out of Darlington with his Case IH that he calls well spent. He has been in the winner's circle 6 times this year. 6 times at last count. That's pretty good. A lot of guys like to win 1 pull a year. You win 6 in 1 year, that's pretty good. He was our most recent winner. Trying to think. I know up at Mazomania, he won up there. That was a couple of weeks ago, or a week and a half ago. And he puts the sled left to center. So yeah, as stout as Bill Smith's run was, I'm sure he's highly concerned about Tony McDonald hooking yet. As Tony's he's been kind of the standard of the class so far this year, especially in consistency. If this was still a racetrack, we'd say they're putting her into turn 1 pretty hot. Boy, Tony McDonald, he's right out there. Oh boy, had to beat 363. How about a 368.40? Number 1 man, Tony McDonald. Wow. 368.40. And these guys, you know, they're not just putting it ahead by 1.5 feet. That was 5 feet on a run that I didn't think was going to get beat, but what do I know? I'm from out of town. What a pass for Tony McDonald, 368.40. We're halfway through the class. This baby isn't over by a long shot. Every tractor's gone a little bit further than the one in front of it. Yeah, you look at our leaderboard up there, that's the inverse order of how they've pulled. Down in 5th, that was your first puller. 4th was your second puller. 3rd was your 3rd puller. 2nd was your 4th puller, and the leader was your 5th puller. That's just the way it works sometimes. That's luck of the draw. Track getting maybe a little bit better. Tractors certainly aren't getting any less by any means. All the tractors in this class very, very competitive. Here comes one of our hometown guys now, just from down the road in Sterling, Jared Fredericks with the Wild Buck. Oh, we got Wild Buck fans over there? Let's hear ya. All right, Jared, you got half the grandstand here. Did anybody turn the light off when you all come up from Sterling? Everybody's here. Well, get behind your hometown boy. This is the hardest pull to win, is the one closest to home for you. And his competitors certainly aren't throwing him a bone here tonight by any means. He's got his work cut out for him. He moves the sled back up to right of center, so he's not going to follow the other guy's tracks at all. He's going to blaze a new trail. How about it? Let's get behind the Wild Buck. Right off the line, he pedaled the throttle one time. I'm sure he could feel it in the seat that this thing's not hooking up like it needs to be. So he yanked the throttle back quickly and shoved it back ahead. And I tell you, I was almost concerned that it was even going to come back. He's able to drive through it and come out of it with a good distance, 3:57.61, good for third. In this class, I would take that all day long. Puts him into third. But he did that pump jack on the throttle back on the starting line. When he took off, he could feel it wasn't hooking up, so he pulled the throttle back for a split second and then shoved it back full throttle. And it almost ended his run, because I didn't think his RPMs didn't get back up to full chat immediately like he was hoping. It took a little bit. That may have been his undoing ultimately. I don't know. But I'm sure he felt it was something he had to do to try to get it hooked up off the starting line, because he was trying a whole new tread on the track. That's going to bring another one of our local guys to the sled. Adam Stevens coming down from Shannon with his beautiful Case IH MX Optima. Painted black. Beautiful tractor. Black's hard enough to keep clean on a car or a truck. Trying to keep a pulling tractor clean, that's black. That's got to be extra challenging. And he kind of splits the difference now from where them boys were running off the left-hand side of the track and really putting it out there. And Jared Fredericks moved up right of center. Now it looks to me like Adam Stevens puts the Terminator weight transfer machine right in the middle of the track. Well, we're looking for green. Dan Meyer, our track judge on the starting line, puts up the green flag. Steve Johnsrud on the finish line and got his green out. Adam Stevens knows what he's got to do. A long ways down to Carroll County clay. Got to get it into the 360s, putting near 370. Driving them now. Adam Stevens, he ran at half throttle for the first 10, 15 feet before he pinned it on down. Trying to get them tires hooked up just a little bit. These guys are in the neighborhood of 2,800 horsepower, they tell me. Of course, none of them ever tell me the truth because they know I'll blab it all over the place, so you can take that for what it's worth. 3:55.62 for Adam Stevens, 3:62. Now the distances are starting to drop off, go the other way a little bit. And something that bears note now, with the sun starting to drop off in the horizon, you can see the shadows starting to creep in. And the starting line's pretty much been shaded for a while now. Now we're getting the left-hand side of the track pretty well shaded, while the right side's still getting lots of sunlight. What that does is when the sun goes down, the moisture in the track will work its way towards the surface. And yeah, nobody's an expert, including me for sure, but when that moisture comes up, sometimes the track gets just a little bit better, and sometimes if it's a lot of moisture, the track will kind of slick over a little bit and it'll drop off a little bit. But right now they're pulling from shade to sun, back into shade down here if they're on the left-hand side of the track. Nobody's really been up on the right-hand side much all night. And historically, that hasn't been the place to be. It's going to be John Myers Jr. out of Judah, 1206 Farmall. And he's heading back down to the left-hand side where we've seen them big distances come from earlier. Can't blame him. I would probably be tempted to go back to the well myself. Yeah, we're looking for green here. John Myers Jr. out of Judah. He builds a lot of engines for fellow pullers here on the Badger State Circuit. A lot of Hart Farm guys run his power plant. It's getting crowded at the top. He's out there pretty good, but I don't know. Them guys ever got into the 360s, well, we're out there quite a bit. He come close to breaching the 360-foot mark, 359.66. Good for third, 359.622 it says on the board. Is that a 2 or a 6? That puts him in third. A very nice run. We're getting down there. We only got 2 tractors to go. Got to hand it to our track crew. Boy, they're doing a great job out here tonight, putting our track back together after each one of these pullers makes a pass, and they're doing it in a very timely fashion. And they're doing it all with old iron. Let's see, them 2 black stripes, they would have been made in 1976. That was the only year that International Harvester produced the black stripe version of the International, the 1066s. Yeah, them would be 1976s. Now the 1206, I think them come out in 67. And probably produced a 72 when they came out with the 66 series. So yeah, that's some nice old classic iron. These guys are having fun running around with out here, and they're doing a great job. All right, next puller going to be Chris Lear from Reedstown, Wisconsin, the Badger Deer. And he's been making himself known on the Badger State circuit this year. He'd been kind of an infrequent visitor in years past. Always glad to have him when he comes around, but he's been coming around quite a bit more this year. All right, Chris Lear, another one of them big 60-30 John Deeres, coming down from Reedstown, Wisconsin. Good pass. He carried the front end. Boy, just a few inches off the ground. Don't think he's going to catch them 360s. I thought he was going to yield a jackpot distance with such great balance on the machine. Still good distance, 358.08, 358.08, nothing to sniff at. Looks like that puts him in 4th place. According to Ryan Zolik, he's got it up there on our scoreboard for us. And watch the replay on the big screen. Now look at that front end, about a foot in the air, then it comes down to just a few inches off the ground. I mean, that's right where you want it. You got all the weight on the back tires, full weight transfer, we call that. Nice pull, puts him in, what did I say, 3rd place or 4th place? 4th place. Good pull. Yeah, I started to talk about tires a little bit earlier. For years and years, the pullers had one choice of tires, and it was Firestone. That was it. And then the Firestone came out with the Puller 2000s, so then you had to have a set of them, and that wasn't in the year 2000. That was, I think that was like 2010 or something like that. And then so everybody had to have a set of Firestone Puller 2000s, and that, that was the only choice you had. That was it. Well, then some other tire manufacturers came into play. Bob Parks started producing the Parks Puller. That was kind of a limited supply run back in the early to mid 2010s. And then they come out with the whole shot. The pro pullers, they started coming out with tractor pulling tires, and they came out with a set of pro pullers. Then they came quickly following that up with a set of whole shots. That seemed like they were a little bit better. And then the Mitas tires came into play, and people really liked them. And then Bob Parks reintroduced a new generation of Parks pullers. So most all these guys, besides the tires that are on the tractor, most all of them have an extra set sitting in the machine shed that they're not sure. Are they better than the ones they got on the tractor now? I mean, you can't. The thing is, you can't sell them for half of what you paid for them. It's really changed the game quite a bit. Here's Brent Lenerud out of Boston, last tractor in the class, 1466. Brent Lenerud, he's an old Super Farm puller. I think this tractor is his old Super Farm tractor too. One thing is for sure, these guys are all having fun rides tonight. 355.66 for Brent Lenerud, 355.66. It looks like that's going to be a 6th place finish for him. I'll give you the complete and official final rundown here in a second. What a great class of 9,500-pound limited pro stock tractors. They were having some fast rides. I want to say 34 mile an hour. I should be looking at this a little bit. We got the radar up here from the sled. 34 miles an hour. That's hauling the mail. Dragging 35,000 pounds behind you. Here's how they're going to finish up. Mike Gerlach, our first puller, going to finish in 10th. Kevin Hingelking, our second man down the track, going to finish 9th. Them boys had great pulls there, well into the 340s, but then it didn't last long as their fellow competitors started bumping it on up there. Scooter laid down a great pass. 355, comes home 8th. Adam Stevens, 355.2. Oh, so he was just one. Oh, man, we got 3 of them in the 355s. I better back up. Scooter was at 355.10. Adam Stevens was at 355.26. That was good for 7th. And Brent Lenerud just pulled. He went 355.66. That's good for 6th. So we got 6th, 7th, and 8th within about 4 inches of each other. That's pretty close. Hometown local puller Jared Fredericks with the Wild Bucks going to come in 5th here tonight. He was at 357. Chris Lear with the Badger Deer, 358, good for 4th. And the top 3 go like this. John Meyer Jr. on the 1206 Farmall, 359.66, good for 3rd here tonight. Second place out of Darlington with a monster pull of 363.81, Bill Smith. With high maintenance, he finishes in 2nd. And for at least the 7th time in 2026, your win with a pull of 368 feet is going to go to Tony McDonald. With well spent. Congratulations, Tony. What a year you are having. What a great class. That was what you call a barn burner. And something that I make note of, ran all them tractors in 40 minutes. That's pretty good. That's a good class of pulling. That's what you call picking them up and putting them down. And that's just how it rolls here on the Badger State Circuit. Not a lot of lollygagging around. I think it might have been less than 40 minutes. I think we started just a smidgen after 7 on that, so a good class. Well, looks like we're rotating our track crew out. We got Jim Lilburn out of Janesville going to be our head track judge on the finish line end. Well, we're going right to Hot Farm. We rotated some of the help out a little bit. I think, well, I know why. Steve Johnsrud's down on the starting line end, Jill Lilburn on the finish line end, and Dan Meyer, I think he might be pulling something or at least crewing on something. We got 18 of them in here? Hokey smokes. I didn't have to count. You got them numbered for me. 18. 18 Hot Farms going to make the call here at the Carroll County Fair. Whoa, boy. This is going to be good. Who's going first? Rich Sutter from Stoughton, tractor called Overfueled. This is a new tractor, a new effort. He's been out on the circuit a fair amount. I've seen him a few times. Well, a nice pass. He didn't snuff it out or anything. They obviously changed the sled for the different class of tractors. And I think they were getting a little nervous when them boys were starting to push 370 on that last class. Like, kind of reel them in a little bit, will ya? Still out there past 300. That's what we like to see. What we like to see is fast passes. Get them down the track in a hurry. Looks to me like that was 29.4 miles an hour. 318.16. 318.16. Is he keeping the pole? And we all good and all that good stuff. They'll give me the hand signals. The sled set, we're good. He's keeping the pole. So I need 2 thumbs up for that, Beth. 1 for the sled, 1 for the tractor. So he's keeping the pole. The sled is set. We're good to go. We need a toe off, do we, Jim? Need a toe off. We need a toe off. Where? On the track. That's like a football game when they say time out and everybody else where? They say on the field. And look at this. We got another black stripe. I've never seen so many black stripes. I got to believe a couple of them are counterfeit. Oh, he got her fired up. They wave him off. He's going to drive her off the track. Yeah, International Harvest, they produced the Black Stripe series in 1976 only, and what they were doing is they were trying to keep interest in the 66 series high so they could sell them off the dealer lots because they knew the 86 series was just about ready to get released. So that's why you see the Black Stripe across the front of them. But we just had 4 on the track at one time. You can buy the decal kit, and I think there might be a few counterfeits floating around. This here going to bring Craig Whitaker to the sled. A New Holland T7-210. That's almost like somebody's phone number. Calls it True Blue. Comes out of Monroe. New Holland machine. And he's moving the sled up just a little bit right of center. All right, look at our first New Holland in the class. Might be our only one, too. I've looked down through the lineup. Oh, he gets under the turbocharger right at the end of the run. And when I say gets under the turbocharger, the tires were locked in so well, brought the engine RPMs down just enough that they didn't have enough to spin the turbocharger any longer. Then that's when they go chut, 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 like that. Okay, they're telling me a water line came off. So keep an eye on the big screen. I see a puddle on the track. Sometimes I always think a lot of that's blow by. Keep an eye. I guess we can be able to see it on the replay here. Oh, yeah. See the left front of the tractor? That's not a decal. That's water squirting out through the screen there where it's all black on the left side. See that? That's his water injection line rattled loose. Aha. And water injection is very, very important to these turbocharged diesel tractors. There, you watch him come down the track, and you can see, there it is. It's starting to come out. That black screen on the front's turning all what looks white to us. That's water coming through the screen, getting aerated. And it's under pressure, too. These water injection systems put out quite a bit of pressure. So that's what led to his demise. That water line came off. And it's a matter, and coming out the front like that, they inject water in front of the turbocharger into the manifold, on the intake manifold in a couple different spots, into each individual cylinder on the intake manifold. One thing about it, it won't be hard to find. When he gets back there, opens up the hood, he goes, that one. Then they'll say, who was in charge of tightening them lines up? And odds are it was probably Craig. So yeah, that water injection line, without water injection, these turbocharged diesel tractors, they won't last long. They'll melt the pistons out of them in pretty short order. Well, keeping it a family affair, her dad just won the 9,500-pound limited pro class. This here's going to be young Ashley McDonald coming to the line. Still broke, they call the tractor. She made her tractor pulling debut 1 year ago here at the Carroll County Fair. She won her first pull a couple of weeks ago in Monticello, Iowa at the Great Jones County Fair. Let's see if she can match Dad's prowess here tonight. She got a tougher job. She got 18 competitors. Tony only had 10. Not like that was easy either. Well, she got it up there. We shall see. She come off the line pretty hard. Not a lot of clutch slippage there. Kind of like sidestepped it. Well, she had to beat what she had to beat. She had to beat 318. How about 326.41? That's going to put Ashley in the lead. 326.41. Actually, she goes into the lead by, let's see, 6 and 2, 5. What was that? 8 feet. 8 feet. She goes into the number 1 spot. Pretty good, Ashley. I don't know how often this happens, but her dad's already won his class. Now she's leading her class. Boy. Nice pull for Ashley. We'll have Sean Strutter coming up next out of Waterford with his Ford called the Blue Viper. Ashley didn't have that smooth of a hole shot, I didn't think. She didn't slide the clutch a whole lot. She kind of dumped the clutch, and boy, she took off. She picked a good line on the track, I do have to say that. Sean Studer getting ready to go. Comes out of Waterford, Wisconsin. A Ford 8630 model. He calls it the Blue Viper. Want to thank the good folks at Rock River Lumber and Grain. Also Nutrient Ag Solutions. RNH Seed Solutions. Also J&J Farms. And the good folks at Sloan Implement. All them folks donating, whether it be equipment or money or something to help us out making our pull possible. Under the charger right at the end of the run. Talking to Tony McDonald down here, boy, he's a pretty proud man right now. You know, you always want to do good yourself, but boy, when you see your kids doing well, that kind of steps it up a little bit. Well, Sean Studer going to move her down one spot. 330.03 moves Ashley McDonald down to second. 330.03 for Sean Studer with the blue Viper Ford. A nice pull. He even snuffed the Charger right at the end of the run, so he had her in a pretty good gear. That's one thing about most all these pullers. They got several gears to choose from. A lot of them run 3-speed transmission or a 5. And the gear, they're custom built, and the gear ratios are very close. The splits on them, 1% generally. And when you start seeing the class is going to run out past 330 feet, you really got to think, man, to get that far, I'm going to have to get there in a hurry. So you reach down and you shift up a gear, as we call it in puller lingo, put it in a little faster gear. But if you see the pulls are only going 310, then you're like, I can't run that gear. I'll snuff it too soon. And he snuffed it at the end of it, but I think he probably shifted it up one when he seen it. We were going to run him out to at least 330. This here going to be Tony Sen from Fox Lake, Wisconsin, a 966. He calls Swiss Miss. And he used to pull on the Badger State Circuit in the Super Farm class like 20 years ago. Took a break, moved from the Monticello, Monroe area up to Fox Lake, started milking cows up there. But I evidently never got real far away from it. And here he's back 20 years later. Nice looking tractor. He's moving her back down to the left side a little bit. I don't know what them guys see down there on the right-hand side, but nobody's taking even a sniff over at the right-hand side of the track tonight. Nice pull for the man making a comeback after a 20-year hiatus. .323.67, 323.67, and I think that's going to be a third place run. And indeed it is. Next man up will be Rod Hogan out of Broadhead with the Hustlin' Harvester. And the Hustlin' Harvester isn't the only thing that Rod Hogan runs. He had a Hustlin' Semi, because I followed him from the time we got on Milledgeville Road coming south out of Freeport there. And I thought, well, he's gonna be going slow up and down them hills. I'll just back off and give him some room. He was walking away from me. I had to jack my cruise up a little bit. He's got a hustling hauler besides a hustling harvester. I suppose for a semi, 9,500-pound tractor is pretty light payload. Well, Rod Hogan, he's been the hot shoe of the hot farm class as of late. Rod, he won a week ago Friday night up in Mazomanie, Wisconsin. Then he turned around and backed it up the next day on Saturday in Edgerton out at the Thresherman's Park with another win in Hot Farm. Yeah, he doubled up. He won 2 poles in less than 24 hours. That's pretty good day's work. So I'd keep an eye on him. He's been running pretty stellar as of late. You can hear the grinding as he comes to stop. We're going to need a toe off, guys. Gonna need a toe off. Oh, just when things are running as good as they can get, something broke in the driveline. I could hear it grinding to a stop. Whatever broke, it was still rotating, although not connected very well. Oh boy. And let's see. I gotta look. I'm sure a hot farm's scheduled for Utica this Saturday, but I gotta know that for a fact. And indeed it is. Indeed it is. Well, he's got his helmet off, folks. Rod Hogan, he can hear you. Give him a big hand. Boy, he's got something broke. I don't know if it's transmission or rear end, something in the driveline. You could hear, you can see the tractor stopped. You look up on the big screen, you can watch the back tires stop and the smoke's still coming out of the exhaust pipe. Yeah, now you can hear it grinding as he pulls it off the track. Yeah, there things are coming to an end for him. Yeah, the tires are stopped now, and he knows it's broke, so he pulled the throttle back. And it's grinding as he takes it off the track. And he just won the last 2 Hot Farm class hooks. And boy, just when things can't get any better, they can get a lot worse. And we just found that out. And then on top of it all, today's Wednesday. This class hooks again on Saturday in Utica, Wisconsin. That tractor's got to come apart. And I know Rod, I know most pullers, that thing will be tore apart and analyzed tonight yet. So he knows what he's got to get or what he's up against. And the phone lines will be burning up in the morning. Yeah, besides he wouldn't be able to sleep anyway. How can you go to bed knowing your tractor's broke and you don't know what's wrong with it? I know that feeling. He went 321.14, 321.14. He had a good distance, just didn't stay together long enough. Yeah, that's pretty much disastrous, especially with the short turnaround time before the next hook. I don't know where he's at in the point standings, but I think he's got to be right up in there. This here going to be Mike Loofborough from Milton. Case IH called Still Fueling Around. They got 2 of these tractors, and they're pretty identical. They got Just Fueling Around, and this was the second one they brought out, Still Fueling Around. Ooh, very good pull. We got him pegged at 31.2 miles an hour. That's a pretty quick run. That's one way to get her down to the end of the track in a hurry. You got to help me out on this one. 330.08. 330.08. Where's that put him at? That is going to make him number one by just a smidgen. He had to beat 330.03. He goes 330.09. So that's tenths, that's hundredths, 6/100ths of an inch. So you take an inch, you chop it into 100 pieces, equal size, mind you. That's 6 of those. I don't know how you measure that, but that's how much it is. A whisker, I guess. But the laser takes it out to thousandths for us, tenths, hundredths, and thousandths, if need be. So that puts him in the number one spot, Mike Wolfboro. Still feeling around. Another tough runner coming to the line, Lee Ruff out of Darlington. Case IH, he calls fair warning. And he moves the sled back up just a shade right of center. All the pullers have that option. Want to thank the good folks at the Milledgeville Home Center. Also Eastland Feed and Grain, Ron Seed Service, Miners Repair, The Exchange State Bank, T.A. Fink Farms, New Miller Farms, and also Talia Allen, your Edwards Jones representative. A big thanks to all them folks helping us out here with the Carroll County Fair and the Badger State Tractor Pull here tonight. Lee Ruff, he's been in the Werner Circle a couple of times this year. I would look for good things out of him. We shall see. Got him clocked at 32.2 miles an hour. That's a pretty speedy run. Picked the front end up high a couple of times. Oh boy. He did it all right. 338.68. That's going to put him on the top of the heap. 338.68. Yeah, that's 8 feet. Puts him number one, 8 feet in the class of very competitive hot farms. Lee Ruff takes over the number one spot, 338.68. Stellar run. He even got light in the front end, I thought. Picked it up pretty high, and I don't know if it unhooked the tires, but the front end come down pretty hard. Uh-oh, we got the hood open on the sled over here. I thought I heard it making some funny noise. Yeah, people on the infield side, you can take a look at that. That's a Deutz motor they got in the sled. And the reason they run a Deutz motor in your weight transfer machine is air cooled. Tremendous advantage. You don't have to mess around with all that cooling, especially when it's not going down the track at highway speed by any means. So air cooled. Uh-oh. It died and they're trying to get it to start. Man, Josh Jacobs, our sled man, he's the owner and operator of the Terminator Championship pulling sleds. Oh, there it comes to life. Got somebody holding on to the injection pump. So they got the problem nailed down. Something makes me think it's going to get a zip tie on it. Sounds like it's grinding feed to me. Ah. Well, these things will happen anytime you're dealing with something mechanical. And Josh Jacobs with the Terminator sleds, you want something to keep yourself busy during the summer, get yourself a tractor pull weight transfer machine. 84 events he had booked this summer. And I remember talking to him back when I thought it was middle of June, and he said he wasn't even halfway started yet. He had a long ways to go. Hell, they'll get it figured out. Maybe Ryan's going to tell me something. All right, well, we're going to take a look at the sled. Without the sled, we're not going to do much of anything except stand up, stretch our legs, and, maybe get a corn dog or a butterfly pork chop sandwich. Let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 guys looking at it. We need 2 more. Well, Pat, you build the track. Oh, you putting your glasses on does not count as an extra guy. Here we go, now we got another one. That's 5. And Dan's going to make 6. So once you get a half a dozen guys looking at something, that will get it fixed. Or it will get all the beer drank that you got out in the shop. Well, we'll just hang tight for a few minutes. One thing we got is time on our side. Guys are running a very speedy show. We got started on time. It's only a little after 8 o'clock. And I don't know about you, but I don't have to work tomorrow. How about you, Jack Spots? You got to work tomorrow?
No, not at all.
Couple of retired guys here. That's what you got. So I got time. Beth, you got to work tomorrow? What time? You got to work at 6:30. You're going to be tired tomorrow.
Every day's a holiday, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. When I go to fill stuff out, paperwork, I always have to ask what day it is anymore. I don't even know. Yeah. But it's only 8 o'clock, and we're halfway through our second to last class. I remember years ago when I first started announcing for the Badger State Tractor Pullers, and it was here at the Carroll County Fair. That was when we ran 3 classes, the light class and Super Farm and the Pro Stocks. And it's just them 3 classes, but we ran them twice. Back in them days, we ran them at 2 different weight breaks, 1,000 pounds different for each weight, each class. And we ran them twice. And I remember distinctively, because I, like Beth, had to work the next morning. And at 10 o'clock, we finished the first round, because we ran pull-offs then too. By the time we were done with the pull-offs and everything, the first round was done at 10 o'clock. So then we got to do it all over again. It was 1 o'clock. I was pulling on out of here, and yeah, I was tired. Need electrical tape. They need some electrical tape. Pat Hack's probably got some of that on his left knee there, holding it together, doesn't he? Oh, here comes something with electrical tape. Well, at least they didn't ask for baling wire.
There you go.
Well, the thing is, I learned a lot about baling wire this week watching Don Slama and his little videos that he puts out about some different obscure farm equipment. I learned all about the wire tie baler. I didn't really know them existed, but I always wondered where they come up with the phrase baling wire. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Well, the early small balers instead of baler twine, they had wire on them. And Don said they were not very good balers. Don said he learned how to run a cutting torch when he was 12 years old, cutting up, used wire tie balers. He said because you couldn't sell them. He said they weren't that good of a baler. Hell, they're getting to work on it down there. Well, somebody's got his head poked in there. He needs some suspenders. Oh, yeah. I love it. Oh, they got the tool chest out there and everything. Pretty soon they're going to come in for 4 tires, a round of wedge, and 2 cans of Unical 76 gasoline. it's somewhat alive. They shut her back down, but it started up.
It's rolling around the bend, and I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when. I'm stuck in Folsom Prison, and time keeps dragging on. But that train keeps a rolling on down to San Antonio. When I was just a baby, my mama told me, son, always be a good boy, don't ever play with guns. But I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. When I hear that whistle blowing, I hang my head and cry.
I'm thinking we're good to go. All right, they got her fixed. Let's give all them guys a big hand. We had a dozen working on it. One thing about it, if something breaks down at a tractor pull, you got plenty of mechanically inclined individuals around to fix it if you can. I don't know what the problem was. Something to do with the starter. Ryan was down there looking at it. He might have the hot tip for me. Maybe Pat Hack will come up and clue me in. Well, somebody's got to let me know. How am I going to convey the message to the fans? All right, they had some wiring harness issues on it. That's what it was all about. And henceforth, the need for electrical tape. And I don't imagine hauling down across these stellar Illinois roads had anything to do with it. All right, we got the inside scoop now. The wiring harness must have rattled loose from its original location, got caught in the drive belt, and made that nastied up, and that's what killed it. I tell you what, though, getting caught in a pulley, getting caught in a drive pulley like that could have been a lot worse. I'd have been looking at it. Okay, where's the white wire with the blue stripe go? Okay, well, we're ready to go. I got to get caught back up. Did I even give you a distance on the last guy? Yeah, 3:38. That was our last puller, Lee Ruff. Yeah, he set the lead. And now we got our defending point champion hooking to the sled, Dominic Holgarfer out of Belleville, Iowa. Mama's money reloaded. Well, he's had a chance to think about it. They didn't groom the track, though, until the sled got it out of the way, so the track received no extra TLC, so it should be about as fair as it gets. Oh boy, nice pull for Dominic Holgraffer out of Iowa. He's our defending point champion in Hot Farm. I think he's our first point champion from Iowa, as a matter of fact. Yeah, not so sure about that now that I think about it. I think Brandon Coates from Dubuque may have got in there before. 3:23.84, 3:23.84 for Dominic Holgraffer. Steve Aldhouse from Sublet will be coming up next. And yeah, Brandon Coates, he might have been a point champion from Iowa in the past, now that I think about it. And Brandon Coates come up and talked to me a little bit earlier. We got a brand new light pro stock tractor that's supposed to be making an exhibition shakedown run at the end of the Hot Farm class here. he told me enough information that I should know more, but my early onset CRS is kicking in here. Steve Aldhouse from Sublet coming to the line. With his John Deere. Talking about Sublet earlier, yeah. Woodhaven Lakes or something like that's named that big campground down there. It's huge. Like a city of its own. And we're halfway through the class of 18 pullers here. The Althouses, they've been pulling for a long time. They pulled the Badger State circuit pretty frequently years and years ago. Then they started pulling a lot closer to home with the ISP group, and they've been back hitting a lot more Badger State pulls this year. Glad to have them. .317.36, 317.36 for Steve Aldhouse. I'm going to put him down in the lineup there. Ninth is what you're telling me? All right. Beth's got to be to work at 6:30 in the morning, and she tells me that puts him in ninth. Where do you work at that you got to be there at 6:30, Beth? Now hold it. Now Beth, you work from home, and you got to be to work at 6:30. One thing about it, you won't have to spend a lot of time getting ready. Do you work from home in your pajamas? Of course. With your dog on your lap. Oh boy. No wonder they told everybody to get back to the office. That's a long commute, yeah, from the bedroom to the kitchen table. Okay, back to seriousness here. The Diamond Deere, John Deere, 4255. Tracy Paulson will be coming up next. And Tracy's going to move the sled over to the left-hand side of the track. Been a lot of good distances yielded from that part of real estate. Here we go. Tracy Paulson getting ready to go. getting her backed up to the sled. Her husband Melvin, Mike's his real name, but everybody calls him Melvin. And they campaigned this tractor, and they switched the driving back and forth a little bit. Tracy does a good job. She's not just another pretty face, although she's pretty. She does a great job driving the tractor. We used to give Melvin a hard time that Tracy's the better driver, but Melvin stepped it up this year. He won a couple of poles early in the campaign this year. They run a bunch of farmland up around DeForest, Wisconsin, up around Madison. Keeps them pretty busy. And she got the sled left to center, and there's been some pretty good pulls out of there. One thing now we know for sure, the sun completely down now. You can kind of see the moisture coming up. You kind of see where the track shines a little bit now in spots. We'll see if that's going to make the track a smidgen bit better or a smidgen bit less advantageous. All right, ladies, let's get behind Tracy here, see if she can get her done. Oh, boy. I'm thinking that's a pretty good run. 32.2 mile an hour. That's always a good barometer from the top distances we've seen. The speed doesn't, it doesn't factor into it, but boy, it's a good indicator. She had to beat 3:38. That's where Lee Ruff set the leader flag with fair warning. She had to beat 3:38.68. Tracy goes 3:37.34. Second place run. Nice pull, Tracy. 3:37.34. Lee Ruff can breathe a sigh of relief. His 3:38.68 still holding down the #1 spot. We'll bring Mike Loofborough up now with Just Fueling Around, their original hot farm tractor for the Loofboroughs. Yeah, Tracy had a good run. I thought she might have had it. Just a smidgen short. Here we go, the second entry of the Loofboroughs out of Milton. Mike doing the driving on Just Fueling Around. Lee Ruff just dodged a big bullet there with the Diamond Deer. The fair warning tractor, 3:38.68, still #1. Well, it's a close class of hot farms tonight, not surprising. 466 hot farms, that's how big they can go with the motors, 466 cubes. I think they're 3x3 on the turbochargers. 3-inch in, 3-inch out. 328.09 for Mike Loofborough, 328.09. pretty close to the trailer mate tractor. The other tractor went 330.09. So yeah, they're pretty competitive with each other. Tractors almost identical. The heavy air, the smoke isn't exactly clearing out real quickly tonight. It's kind of hanging around, doing some good mosquito fogging for us. Well, our next puller coming to the line, going to be a local man just coming up from Polo, Dave Baker. Dave Baker from Polo. He's one of our local guys. I was thinking about that the other day. We got a lot of pullers from down this neck of the woods. And these guys all run the Badger State circuit, so these are probably some of the more traveled guys and dedicated pullers, because you know, they've got to drive an hour before they even think about getting to their first pull when they head north for the most part. And Dave Baker, he experienced turbocharger failure at the Greene County Fair up in Monroe a few weeks back. Probably the difference between his good turbocharger that blew up in Monroe and his spare turbocharger that was sitting on the shelf. You don't run your spare turbocharger unless you're forced to. There's a reason it's your spare. But yeah, he blew one pretty good up in Monroe here a couple of weeks ago, and it got down into the motor. We were up at Mazomania and having a little dinner there. I asked him if any of the parts got into the motor, and he goes, "Oh yeah." And he reached in his pocket, and he pulled out a couple of pieces of aluminum, and they were all smashed, and they were laying on number 5 cylinder, I think he said. I said, "Oh boy, did you change the piston?" And he goes, "Nah, I sanded off the rough spots anyway." 3:24.02, going to put him in 7th. 3:24.02 for Dave Baker, good for 7th here tonight. Well, this next competitor has probably spent more quality time on this track in the last week than anybody here. It's going to be Ben Hayen from right here in Milledgeville with a tractor he calls Dozing Through. And he's been building the track here at Milledgeville for the Carroll County Fair for a number of years, and it is one of the best tracks by far on the circuit all summer. They did a great job with it. They got really good dirt to work with. And he's been out here, you know, the last couple days. And of course, the weather forecast had 1.5 inches, 2 inches of rain in it. So you got that in the back of your mind. Well, did we put water in it? No, it's going to rain 2 inches. The weatherman said so. Well, guess what? It didn't rain at all. So, well, we better put some water in the track. Oh, it's going to rain this afternoon. We better put a tarp on the track. You guys probably can't see it up there, but laying on the other side of the blocks down there, there's a tarp 400 feet long they cover the track with. Here we go, Ben Hayen from right here in Milledgeville. Let's get him on down here. Very good run for Ben Hayen. The local puller doing good. He's seen enough of this track. He knew the best spot to go. Well, he picked a good spot, and he's got a good pull. Had to beat 338.68. How about 337.346? Good for second place. And the reason I bring that 6 in there, 337.346, is because Tracy Paulson with the Diamond Deer, she went 337.344. 2 1/1000ths of an inch. 2 1/1000ths of an inch. And the laser doesn't lie. Just like TV doesn't put 5 pounds on you either, you know. Wow, that's probably the closest pull I've ever seen. 2 1/1000ths. I don't know if we've ever taken it down to thousands, much less 2 of them. But 2,000, and they say, 2 1/1000ths of an inch is as good as 2 feet. Puts him into second place. Nice pull. We're getting down to the end of her now. We got, 4 left to go. Cole Meyer out of Monroe. 466 Express, the Meyer family machine. 466 Express, probably been down the pulling track more than any other tractor around. Third generation puller. His grandpa used to pull this tractor, John Meyer Sr. He used to pull the tractor for many, many years, and it was quite a few years ago when John was still with us. I asked him how many times this tractor's been down the track, and he started counting the decades that he's been pulling that tractor, and you're figuring 30 hooks a year, because they run this tractor a lot. This thing's been down the track at least 1,000 times. On to its third generation now. Pretty good puller in the seat. Cole Meyer. I don't think he's going to get it. Had plenty of power, might have been able to shift up a gear. .69, 332.69 puts him in fourth. Nice pull for Cole, cracks the top 5. I'll tell you what, a class of 18, if I could crack the top 5, I'd be pretty happy with that. Well, we're working her down here. 3 tractors run here in Hot Farm. And then after that, we're going to bring out 10,000-pound pro stocks. Looks like we got half a dozen of them entered up. This here's going to be Ryan Litherland. Calls the tractor Standard Edition, a 4010 John Deere. I couldn't confirm. We'll talk more in a minute. Here we go. Oh, snuffs her out. Before 100 feet, they'll yank him back, and he'll get one more crack at it. And I recognize the last name here, Litherland. This is Ryan Litherland. And I remember way back, Jack, we're getting old here, and there was a gentleman named Lyle Litherland that pulled a 4010 John Deere that was called Cookie's Nightmare for a long time. This is his son pulling. And I believe Cookie's Nightmare, did that become Frederick's tractor? I think it did. Oh, man, we're getting old. But our CRS isn't kicking in real bad right now. Yeah, Lyle lived in a tractor called Cookie's Nightmare. It's a 4010.
Lyle's here.
Is Lyle here?
Lyle.
All right. And he's watching his boy Ryan pull here tonight. Yeah, because I remember the Cookie's Nightmare, and I remember when Fredericks bought that tractor. Yeah. How many years ago was that, Jack? A long time ago. They had mechanical weight transfer machines back then. It wasn't step on stone boats. Turbocharger kind of just chatting on him a little bit. That's a nice looking tractor for Ryan Litherman there. I like them clamshell fenders he's got on there. That is definitely an old school look. Oh, need a toe off for him. He kicked a couple sparks out the bottom early in the run. I generally attribute that to clearancing off a couple of bolts. A couple of sparks, then it quits. For Ryan Litherman, I don't know how new it is, but it sure looks like a shiny new penny to me. $309.59, 309.59, coming out of Sheffield, Illinois. Ryan Litherland, Standard Edition. Well, now he gets in neutral, I think. Well, he's got his helmet off, and he's pulling fairly close to home. Let's give him a big Carroll County hand. Ryan Litherland. And the fact that I'm able to remember any of that story is pretty good there. Lyle Litherman, Cookie's Nightmare. That's a long time ago. That tractor was out here. I remember it had a really cool mural on the side of it. 2 tractors to go. Adam Adrian from Glen Haven. We'll be hooking up next with the Memory Maker. And he's hustling out right back to the sled. Going to try a spot just a little left of center. Not too much left, though. And Adam, he's been running a very abbreviated schedule this year. Got youngins playing softball, travel softball. So he's not been pulling the tractor all that much, but he ain't been staying home. Been hauling the youngins around with travel softball. That's a thing called life is what it is. Gets in the way of your pulling once in a while. Glad to have him and his wife Angie here tonight. Angie was up here with us earlier. helping the overtaxed Beth here work on the keeping track of things. Well, let's see. Our leader has been Lee Ruff since the 8th hook of the class. We're down to number 17 now, so it's been a while. Good pull for Adam Adrian. He's not getting any rusty. Not getting rusty as he hasn't been pulling all that much this year. Alan, good pull. 334.94, 334.94 puts him in 4th place with 1 tractor to go. So at the very worst, he's going to crack the top 5 here at the Carroll County Fair. Out of a class of 18, I would take it. He's only 5 feet out of the lead. Lee Ruff out there at that 338 with the 8th hook of the class, and it stood the test of time, but boy, he's had the scare thrown into him a couple of times. Ben Hayen, Tracy Paulson with just really close on his heels. 1 tractor to go. That's going to be Jason Klepley. Jason Klepley out of Richland Center, driving a tractor called Casual Encounter. I think this is Brandon Bodenstein's tractor. Kleppy brought his altered farm down and ran it with the Southwest pullers. And they probably had room in the trailer and said, hey, take this one too. Another buddy of his from up that way. Jason Kleppy backing in here. Brandon Bodenstein's tractor, the Casual Encounter machine. I like the name of this tractor, Casual Encounter, because if you're into tractor pulling, the Casual Encounter is what you have with your money. Yeah, you get it and you casually encounter it for a little while, and then you spend it on tractor parts. I always say tractor pulling's a cash flow operation. Flows right through your pocket. Last tractor in the class, Jason Kleppy out of Richland Center. Well, Jason Kleppy making a nice run on a borrowed tractor, and we got a brand new light pro stock that's going to make a shakedown run. Jason Kleppy goes 327.59 on Brandon Bodenstein's tractor, 327.59. We'll see where that finishes up in the lineup. Meanwhile, we're going to get ready for our exhibition pull shakedown run with a brand new light pro stock tractor. Brandon Coates is up here telling me all about it, and I can't remember too much of what he said because that was an hour ago. But I remember Lyle Litherman's tractor from 30 years ago. Go figure, right? Short-term memory loss. Here's how they're going to finish up, and I do got the scoop now. It's Jamie Lars's new tractor. Jamie Lars was a hot shoe in diesel four-wheel drive trucks for a number of years, and he sold off his trucks, and he's been building this tractor for a little while now, and that's what's going to be making our run. I'll give you the quick rundown here. Lee Ruff wins it with fair warning. Local puller Ben Hayen finishes in second here tonight with dozing through. Congratulations, Ben. You can now relax. Hot on his heels, Tracy Paulson with the Diamond Deer. Adam Adrian getting out for what I believe is the third time this year, rolls home fourth. Cole Meyer, third generation puller, fifth. Mike Loofborough, sixth. Sean Struder with the Blue Viper Ford, seventh. Mike Loofborough on the other tractors, just feeling around, eighth. Jason Kleppe, our last man down the track, rolls home ninth. Ashley McDonald, she cracks the top 10 here tonight. Dave Baker finishes 11th. Dominic Holgrafter 12th. Tony Sen finishes in 13th. Rod Hogan busted something in the drive line, transmission and rear end. He's going to have to pull that thing apart. 14th tonight. Rick Suter finishes 15th. Steve Aldhouse 16th tonight. Craig Whitaker with True Blue 17th, and Ryan Litherland with his beautiful standard edition 4010 John Deere going to roll home 18th here tonight out of a super tough class of hot farms. And I looked down through the distances here, from top to bottom. We did not have 30 feet separating them. The top 10 were just separated by 10 feet. And the top 5 are separated by, 5 feet? Yeah, 4 feet for the top 4. Pretty close pulling, that's for sure. Great class. Okay, now they're gonna put a couple blocks in the sled because they're gonna need them for Pro Stocks coming up anyway. And we're gonna see a shakedown run from a brand new tractor that's just been completed. And then we'll be going on to 10,000 Pro Stocks, and the lineup is going to go like this: Jason Molitor, Alex Brinkmeyer, Randy Bader, Trent Powell. That's going to be a good story, driving Pro Stock for the very first time. Then Dustin Hook will be the 5th man out, and wrapping it up will be Greg Elsing with the T8 Tomcat. So we got some good stuff going to happen yet here. I'm curious to see this new tractor. I did not see it wandering around the pits earlier, probably because I was too busy eating bratwurst and eating cheesy potatoes. But this is going to be a brand new tractor. It's for our light pro class, and we're not pulling light pros here tonight. And but the light pros are 540 cubic inches, and they weigh 8,500 pounds, so they're fairly lightweight by Pro Stock tractor standards. And they can run a 5.5-inch turbocharger. They used to not care how big a turbo you run, and they thought that would be self-policing after a while, that you can only turn such a big charger. Well, these guys, no, they kept putting bigger and bigger and bigger turbochargers on until they finally said, all right, stop it, you guys. Let's make it a 5.5-inch turbo rule, and that'll be enough of that. Yeah, you don't police pullers, they will push the envelope. So anyway, this new tractor that we're going to see a shakedown run from, it's all component construction. That's how you can build them in light Pro Stock. And I think they said it's got Agco sheet metal on it, so it'll look something a little bit different. Always like a horse of a different color. Yeah, one thing about a 1066, I've seen way more 1066s at tractor pulls than I've ever seen in a field. Well, we've had a little bit of carnage tonight. Keith Durst with the little mule Alice Chalmers knocking the front end all cattywampus on it, and darn near wiping out the back of the sled on the big concrete blocks here on the infield side. And then And then Rod Hogan busted something in the drive line. I don't know if transmission rear end, but that thing's going to have to come apart. And he doesn't have a lot of time. We pull again on Saturday, so you got just a couple of days to get it fixed. Hopefully it's, something, I don't want to say simple, but you got nothing simple when you got to split the tractor and tear it completely apart like that. And they may just be waiting to sled up for Pro Stock, get it all done in one shot here, because they know that they're going to need more weight for the Light Pro. And so maybe they just go ahead and say, you know what, we're going to need this much for the Pro Stock class. And he's just going to make a shakedown run, so we'll just go ahead and load it up. And maybe we'll roll right into 10,000-pound Pro Stocks. Yeah, we get them loaded up. Hey, you guys know football season's just around the corner, right? Yeah, Packers, the Green Bay Packers play their first preseason game next Thursday against Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh, boy. And I imagine down here we probably got some Chicago Bear fans floating around. Not many. Yeah, we got more pulling to go on the Badger State Circuit. We're getting down to the home stretch, though. We'll be at Utica this Saturday. And then next weekend, on Friday and Saturday, we'll be up in Hillsboro, Wisconsin for the 20th annual Hillsboro Charity Tractor Pull. Then on the 19th, I believe that's a Thursday. No, that's a Wednesday, Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. 10 days later, on a Saturday night, Highland, Wisconsin. And then September 12th, the Greene County Fall Nationals. That's fairly close to you down here. That's up in Monroe. And then we finish the season off in Viroqua at the Vernon County Fair. All right, I hear the rumble. I hear the rumble of a light Pro Stock coming out to the track. It's not. It's going to be Frank Molitor coming out to the track. So they loaded the. Oh, I'm sorry, Jason's driving it. Janine straightening me out. Maybe they're going to run the exhibition pole after this class. That sounds about right. All right, so we're going right to 10,000-pound Pro Stocks, one of our favorite classes here at the Carroll County Fair. Jason Molitor jumping in the seat of the Molitor family red Cadillac. All right, we got 6 of them entered up here tonight. They put a bunch of weight in the sled. They loaded her up pretty good. There we go, slack out of the chain. We're ready to go. looked fun. Jason Mahler, boy, he whipped it down here in fine fashion. Very powerful and authoritative run for the red Cadillac. That was a dandy. Nothing wrong with that, boy. He wound her up and let her rip. Yeah, our speedometer says 35.5 miles an hour. That's cutting the rug on a 10,000-pound Pro Stock tractor, pumping out about 4,500 horse. There you see it, 357.75, 357.75. They're leaving the sled set. He keeps the pole. We're good to go. Gonna let him run here tonight at the Carroll County Fair. I like it. I remember a couple of years ago we had this silly rule about it. If the first puller goes past 350, we weighted the sled. That didn't work out so good. Nobody liked that. I'm glad we're doing it this way now. What a pass. Well, Jason Molitor's second generation puller. Now we got Alex Brinkmeyer coming up on Foolish Pleasure. He's third generation Brinkmeyer on the world famous Foolish Pleasure. And the Brinkmeyers tell me we got a couple that have yet to pull the Foolish Pleasure. Just about all the grandkids have, just about. We got 2 to go. Here we go, coming out onto the track, the world-famous Foolish Pleasure. The Brinkmeyer family got Alex doing the driving tonight. And Jason Molitor, he's saying, take that. Well, you're going to have to earn it tonight. That was a pretty stout pass. Boy, the Foolish Pleasure's been out on the track for well over 50 years. Here we go. Green flag's out. Let's look and listen. Wow. Yeah, there's no going easy on the equipment tonight. 34.7 mile an hour. That's almost a mile an hour slower than a red Cadillac. We'll see how that affects the final distance here. Had to beat 357. Alex Brinkmeyer goes 351.31, puts him in second place, 351.31, 6 feet behind Jason Molitor. Boy, a couple of stout passes from some good stout Pro Stock tractors. We got 4 to go. Randy Bader from Monroe, the No Fear Deer, be our next competitor coming to the track. Randy Bader from Monroe getting ready to go with the No Fear Deer out of Monroe. He's got a couple of tough runs ahead of him. Boy, Jason Mahler out there at 3:57, and he went 35.5 miles an hour. He was kiting down the track. Randy Bader, he moves her off to the left just a smidgen. Wow, these boys are showing the tractors and the track no mercy. Another powerful pass. He got it up to 34.5 miles an hour. We'll see how that transfers into distance. He hiked the front end up pretty good. It started heading off to the right. He might have rubbed the brake a little bit just to keep it from wandering too far up that way. 347.19, 347.19 for Randy Bader. And thus far, the distances are dropping off with each passing tractor just a smidgen. And could be the track's gone the other way from the way we started out tonight, where the track was getting just a little bit better with each puller. They're dropping off a little bit. I'll tell you what, though, Jason Mahler, he laid down a spectacular pass. If he put that down any time during the pull, it wouldn't have mattered. And our next puller, he's a pretty interesting story. This is going to be Trent Powell. Trent Powell comes all the way in from California. I can't remember the town out in California, but this is a brand new pro stock tractor to the Powell family. They're an interesting bunch. They got a pro stock diesel truck that Trent usually drives. Of course, we're not running pro stock diesel trucks tonight. They also have a super farm tractor, and I'm not so sure he's ever driven the super farm. I'd have to ask somebody. And then they've had the super farm for several years. And then over the winter, they acquired this 10,000-pound pro stock tractor. And this came out of Jason Round's stable. And Trent Powell, he comes from California. His family's got a crane business out there in California. And he has taken up an apprenticeship at Blackburn Racing Products. Josh Blackburn and the guys over there showing him the ropes on how to build championship pulling vehicles. And I believe this is Trent's very first time running the pro stock tractor. I'm not sure he's ever driven the super farm either. Maybe somebody can clue me in on that. I'm not sure. But this ought to be good. He's gotten pretty good at running the diesel four-wheel drive truck. He's had some top finishes a couple weekends ago when we did a double dip at Mazomania in Edgerton, Wisconsin. And then his whole family flew in from California for that particular run. And his dad drove this tractor for the very first time at Edgerton a week and a half ago. Josh Blackburn's been in the seat a few times. Josh Blackburn actually put it in the winner's circle first time down the track. And his dad Everett ran the super farm in Mazomania and won that class. Pretty good bunch. They're a super nice family, very, very humble. He's got the sled over to the right-hand side a little bit. I'm sure Josh Blackburn's down there giving him all kinds of advice. He's a young fella, really super nice kid. Whole family's top-notch. Let's see how he does for his first trip on a 4,000 horsepower, 4,500 horsepower, 10,000-pound pro stock tractor. just got away from him. First time he's ever driven the tractor. We're probably gonna need a tow or maybe the telehandler or skid steer or something to pick it up by the front. He got the front end tweaked on her pretty good. Boy, she got light on the front, and it started heading to the left, and them big cement blocks, they start looking pretty big. Yeah, we'll probably need the end loader down here, guys. And he got on the brake, and that just upset the apple cart. He was really gaining speed at that point. Yeah, he gave him a hand. He's got his helmet off. Well, Trent, how was your first experience on the Pro Stock tractor? I know what you're going to be doing tomorrow at the shop. Yeah, well, that's one good thing about it. He gets to fix his own mistakes. Wow, tweaked the front end on it pretty good. I hope it didn't hurt anything else. That's always a concern when something like that happens. You fix the front end, then you're like, oh, look at this, and then you go to fire the motor up, and you're like, oh, that don't sound good. And just one thing after another. You just hate to see it. That's his first time running the Pro Stock tractor. Like I said, he's been really doing a good job with the diesel truck, but this is a completely different animal. Oh, I just hate it for them. These guys, they're planning on taking that. They're planning on taking that tractor to Bowling Green in a couple of weeks. So they got some time, 2 weeks. They're taking it to the best place in the Midwest, maybe in the country, Blackburn Racing Products, to put it back together. So that's always a plus. You got Josh Blackburn standing down there looking at it, so he's got a pretty good idea what they got ahead of him. Yeah, these things are pretty gnarly. Boy, I was afraid it was going to go over, too. I was really concerned that was going to be the case when he got her up on one wheel. Yeah, look at the replay up there. I'm not even paying attention. Yeah, Ryan's got the replay up there on the board. He probably already replayed it 5 times, but do it once more for me, Ryan, now that I'm paying attention. All right, here we go. We take off. Things are looking good. The front end comes up, and he turns the wheels to the right. That is not a good thing to do, to turn the wheels, because watch what it does. Shoots the tractor off to the right now, and now he's chasing it. He's behind it now. That's just how this works. It happens so fast. And then he backpedaled the throttle once. That dropped the front end down. The red light's on the sled, so they're already going to shut him down. But now it comes crashing down, and that's what rolls the front end underneath it. That's when it got on one tire. Lucky the sled didn't push him over, but Josh Jacobson, the Terminator, he was right on that situation. He locked the sled down, and when I say he locked the sled down, he locked the back brakes up, dropped the pan, locked it up, and so that way the sled didn't catch up with the tractor and push it and roll it over, which I've seen happen several times. So a lot of heads-up stuff going on there. That's pretty much how it happened. Wow. But that's just turning them wheels when the front end's in the air like that. And it's a natural thing to do. Oh, it's going to the left. I got to turn the wheels to the right. And the bad part about that is when it comes down, especially if you turn them too far, it'll dart the tractor off in the direction you got the wheels turned. And that's when things really get messed up. And they're looking on the track. Hopefully there's no more parts in there or anything. Wow. But I've seen many a puller do it. It's just your natural tendencies to turn the wheel like that. When I pull my mini rod, I don't even turn the wheels. I just rub the brake a little bit and let it go at that. Yeah, Trent, welcome to the Carroll County Fair and 10,000 Pro Stock action. We'll see you in Bowling Green. You'll be there. Got a little bit of fixing to do. Wow. Well, we'll clean up the mess. Did we get a distance for him? He didn't get disqualified. He kept it in bounds. 224.49, so we got a distance for him, 222.49. But boy, that's a that could have been a lot worse than what it was, that's for sure. But Josh Jacobs on the Terminator, he's the one that kind of saved us all a lot of mess on that by locking things down and seeing what was happening. Well, coming up next is going to be Dustin Hook from right down the road in Thompson with his tractor called Playin' Hooky. Now, this will not be Dustin's first time down the track on a pro stock tractor. He's been down the track many, many times. And look what he does with the sled. Nobody's been over on that side of the track all night. Any class, nobody's given it a shot over there. And I think what Dustin's probably, his reasoning is at this point is Jason Mallner laid down a 357 that's going to take something out of the ordinary to beat it. So he moves the sled way over on the right-hand side of the track. We'll get the track cleaned up and get ready to watch Dustin pull. How about it, everybody? We got any Dustin Hook fans here tonight? Let's hear ya! I figured we had a slug of them in the house. The Hook family been pulling pro stocks here at the Carroll County Fair for many, many years. Dustin reached into the old school bag of tricks, running a kitty corner, starting up on the high side, running a kitty corner cross track to bring her down here on the low side. That's how you ran this track years ago before they kind of leveled it out. 35.6 miles an hour, that's good. Let's see what the distance is going to be. He has to beat 357. Dustin Hook goes 365.60. I can see the headlines tomorrow. Local boy does good at the local county fair. Man, what a run for Dustin Hook. 365.60. He just put 9 feet on Jason Molliner's stellar pass, and Dustin did it the old way. Man, that's how we used to run this track all the time, back when it was a racetrack and it had a little more banking to it. That was the trick. You had to start her up on the high side, on the grandstand side, and you always wanted to use the natural banking of the racetrack to kind of use that to help you get on down through there. And that was always a challenge, because sometimes it would drive you down to the left-hand side too soon, and then you'd get in trouble that way. But by God, that was pretty much awesome stuff there. And he only came down just to the center of the track, but nobody's left that side of the track all night. The Packers been running down there, circling around all night. So you talk about some well-prepared surface on the pulling track. He had it. Well, here comes Greg Elsing, the president of the Badger State Tractor Pullers. And he's gonna take a page right out of Dustin Hook's playbook. He's gonna take it right back to the high side. And, you know, when they reconfigured this and took the racetrack out and made it a strictly pulling track, they took a lot of the banking out of it. It's not near as pronounced as what it was, but it's still got a little bit of a bank to it. And that's more for rain drainage than anything, because we thought we might have a bunch of rain, and we wanted to get that rain off the track. And Greg Elsing, well, he's been working on this tractor a little bit. He found some material in his oil screen over the weekend, and they figured out that was a lifter failure that consumed itself, so they fixed all that. He started it up, dropped a valve, so that went down through the motor and beat up the head, so he took that over to Lemke Performance, got that fixed. He just got this thing running here, I think last night. Together last night. He goes 36 miles an hour. This could be a big one. And Greg Elsing, he's been enjoying his best season this year on the Badger State Circuit. And he runs the line. And he hauls it out to 357.03. Good for third place for Greg Elsing. 357.03 puts him in third. Boy, he's just a smidgen behind Jason Molitor. Looks like we're going to get him a toe off. But Greg Elsing, more than anything else, he's probably very, very happy the tractor ran and ran so well. Well, give you the final rundown here. What a barn burner of a pro stock class. I think we're still going to have a shakedown run with the brand new light pro stock tractor. I think we're still going to have a shakedown run. Here's how they're going to final run down here. Trent Powell on that Harry ride and experienced learning ride, I'm sure, finishes in 6th. Randy Bader with the No Fear Deer, 347, that's good for 5th. Alex Brinkmeyer on the world famous Foolish Pleasure rolls home 4th here tonight. He was at 351. And Greg Elsing, who just ran with the New Holland Tomcat, 357.03. And I was informed by his daughter-in-law that they just got that tractor put together at 150 this afternoon, just in time to shove it in the trailer and come on down here tonight, this afternoon. So yeah, just got it together. But that makes you feel good when you just get it together and it runs like that. Hopefully it checks out afterwards. Jason Molitor with the red Cadillac, awesome pull here tonight. 357.75, rolls home 2nd. He laid down a tremendous pass. And your winner with a pull of 365 feet out of Thompson, driving the playing hooky John Deere, Dustin Hook. I do believe a very popular win for Dustin. And boy, the way he did it, he kind of took him to school on that run. Hey boys, this is how you pull Milledgeville. Put it up on the high side, let her drift back across. Don't you guys remember? This is how it works. And that was good. Now we should be, I think we're going to take a look at that brand new light pro stock tractor. Nobody's told me any different. I think that's what you guys are all hanging around for. And I think they're going to pluck a couple weights out. They're going to try to give him a weight setting somewhat similar to what he would be pulling normally. I mean, that's what you really want to do. You don't want to pull something that's not what you're accustomed to. So that's what they're going to do. They're going to pull some weight out of it because the light pro stocks, they're not that much less powered than the 10,000-pound tractors, the full pro stocks, the big dogs, but they're lighter. 1,500 pounds, that's a lot. That's a lot of weight. I don't know if you do percentages. I sure don't because my math isn't that good, but it's a lot of weight. So they're gonna pull some weights out of there and give him something somewhat close to what he's going to normally be pulling, which is that'll give him a good shake on it, that's for sure. Jamie Lars from Richland Center. This is his brand new tractor. Been building it for a couple of years. I look at my Mickey Mouse here, and it's only 9:30. Beth, you'll be able to get a good night's sleep before you have to go to work at home tomorrow. How far from home are you? Hour and a half? Me too. But I don't have to work tomorrow. Well, I see the smoke rolling down there. Brand new tractor, and I guess I should ask: is Jamie Lars going to drive the machine? Sometimes the guy that does a lot of work on it will make a shakedown run. But Jamie Lars, he was a stalwart in the diesel four-wheel drive truck ranks for a number of years, and then he sold all of his diesel trucks and started the pursuit of building this brand new light pro stock tractor. What a beautiful piece! I didn't get a chance to see it before the pull started tonight. Oh, it's an Agco orange, looks good. All right, I got a little bit of confirmation. Jamie is driving the tractor. Very first time for him and the tractor. What could go wrong? Now we hope nothing could. We hope this all works out well. Brandon Coates come up and told me about it, so that right there is a good indication. He's got some pretty good help working on the tractor and putting it together and fit and finish and fine tuning and everything. I would expect good things. We'll just see how hard he stands on it. Sometimes they'll come out and just run her out to a couple 100 feet and say, okay, we're going to take it back, look at the screen in the oil filter, make sure there's no foreign particles in there. And sometimes you'd be amazed how much debris can be in an oil filter screen that's acceptable. I mean, they'll look at it and say, that ain't too bad. To me, I'm like, well, look at that thing. We'll see what he does. We'll see if he makes a full-on pass with it or just rolls it out and collect some data. All these tractors have data loggers on them. They can collect all kinds of information, RPMs. Cylinder temperatures is the big thing that they really want to keep an eye on. Make sure all their water injection's working. This is all brand new stuff. This isn't a used tractor that was bought and refurbished. This is complete brand new build, all component construction. So there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle here. Well, let's look and listen. Jamie Lars from Richland Center, brand new light pro stock tractor. there's lesson number one. We got to get her wound up really good before we start letting the clutch out. Got a big turbocharger on there. It takes a lot of RPMs to get that thing spinning. It's just a shakedown run. We want to see him get her down the track. But now what they're going to run in danger of is heating that clutch up too much. Because they kind of grabbed pretty hard on him that second time. So I think one more time, but I don't know how many more times you're going to take a whack at it, because you really got to hold that clutch in. Got her going a little bit. We'll see if they're going to give it one more crack or not. I don't know. I'd be worried about burning the clutch out of it at this point, but we'll see what they say. There's a lot of things, you know, water injection, you got to make sure it's not coming on too soon and drowning the motor out, amongst other things. It looked like it was about ready to roll. We've got to wind her up a little bit more. And I don't know if J.D. Larson's ever driven a tractor. He's really good in the diesel four-wheel drive truck class. We'll just watch and see if they give him another crack at it. Okay, they are indeed done, folks. They're done. They say, all right, we don't want to burn the clutch out of it, but we're going to take it back and look things over. Hey, I want to thank you all for coming out here tonight. What a great night of pulling we got to see here at the Carroll County Fair. You guys been a terrific audience. What a terrific pull we had. And you know what? Weather was pretty darn nice too, wasn't it? Well, enjoy the rest of the Carroll County Fair. We'll see you at the pulling tracks across America. So long, everybody.